Now we are going over to something else, which is also very, very important. Something that residents have been raising a lot of, issues and concerns over, and rightly so, because there seems to be some erratic power supply in the Ashanti region. Residents of Kumasi have been complaining. What they are requesting for is at least a load shedding, to be able to
like
plan
a regular schedule
their activities. And we shouldn't forget that a lot of people depend on electricity for commercial purposes. And so if the coal stores, if factories, if all these people cannot plan, they don't know what is going to happen in the next minute, and we're going to have lights go off or power go off for longer hours, with no announcement, nothing. It's a serious issue.
I mean, for me, what I want to say is, as far back as 20 years ago, right? I mean, I was in tech. We were experiencing random, unexplained power outages. And ever since then, I know that Kumasi, far worse than Accra, experiences these outages. It's curious to me that it's now become, like it's come to a head. So I'm wondering, how bad has it become for it to now become something that we're actually dealing with? Because it's been happening.
I think that even with power
I mean, I don't know if you've lived in Kumasi, like, on a long period.
You don't
and what it is like.
You don't need to even live in Accra.
Has been with the bulk supply point. So for a very long time, there was only one bulk supply point. And so once that gets affected. It gets affected, and we know the issues of even maintenance of the bulk supply point of ECG and Electricity Company of Ghana over the period. So that is what has been attributed. That is what the power trips and the erratic power supply over the years. That's what this has been attributed to. But we are told that it is being worked on now to increase the number of bulk supply points in the region, and of course for the northern sector of the country. And that is what is being given as the reason for the current erratic power supply. But at least, if we know that this is going to happen,
let's plan it properly,
and
so that we know
a load management.
It's a very simple.
A load management so that they know that.
But Bapeku, it's not about to us. So for my argument is, if the power has to be taken, the power has to be taken. There's not much people can do about it, because if this is the problem, it needs to be solved. Now, the good thing is it is going to be solved. But in the meantime, we can also plan our lives around the problem, because we can't have one problem upon the other.
The reason why I'm saying what I'm saying is that maybe we're not even at the point yet. Maybe we are just in the point of planning to do, bring resolution. And maybe what is really happening is actually something that's technical, and it's like you can't predict when it will trip. I don't know, maybe, but we do have a report for you from Kumasi. Let's take a look at that, and we'll come back and continue.
For Frederick Elom Eklu, using a generator set as an alternative power for his phone repairing business is not a better option, although he is forced to use it because of the continuous erratic power supply in Kumasi and other parts of the Ashanti region. He believes that is not helping him.
I'm worried because right now, you see this small stock run, we cannot use a generator for our machines. Yes, because the machine that we use to repair mobile phone, the generator cannot support it. This am I worried. So please, I'm begging the government to do something about that problem.
How much do you lose in a day or on a day when there's no light?
If there's no light, all customers can go back to their distance, because I lose a lot. I don't know that somebody can give me a million a day or $1 billion a day.
Residents in the greater Kumasi area have been heavily affected by the erratic power supply they are experiencing.
Light no krebeduma and one can be answer light in the doom. And almost be tenants and almost so a hard drink, a how workers for no be a hard drink pound.
I feel pity for the people at the Asaf market, or more Asaf market, and I'm feeling pity. One say, on one nam need those kind of stuff, and they hire so a show higher part, so they should do something about it.
The Power Transmission and Distribution Agency say the collapse of a communication tower on 330 kV Abwazi to Kumasi transmission line at Bogoso continues to affect power supply to Kumasi and parts of the Ashanti region, especially at peak periods.
The issue is that until the evening and looking at the voltage, GRIDCO system control doesn't know how much we need to, how much load relief we need in Kumasi. And it's when they tell ECG that ECG will be able to know, oh, today maybe there will be no load relief, or there will be 10 megawatt or 20 megawatt. So ECG, I don't think can give a timetable. If they give a timetable, in the end, your factory or you can't even plan with it, because it's either the light will come on or not. So please, but let's say that at the peak load, there is a possibility that the light will go off. So when you are planning, you plan around that. But whether your house in particular will go off or not, GRIDCO doesn't know, ECG doesn't know. It depends on the state of the system and the voltage at the time.
The Chief Director at the Ministry of Energy, Lawrence Apalsi, says several interventions are in place to improve power supply in Kumasi and parts of the Ashanti region.
I'll add my voice to the rest of the speakers who stood here to say that we actually sorry that these things are so persistent in the Ashanti and the northern sector. That it is our hope that we will make sure that these issues are elevated within our power. We will do all that we can to ensure that these problems are elevated.
Officials of GRIDCO and ECG have been apologizing to residents and want affected residents to bear with them as steps are being taken to address the situation.
Very, very interesting updates there. Leaves quite a bit, of confusion still in our minds, because what I'm wondering about, Frema, is these are the technocrats. These are the engineers. These are the experts.
Yeah.
Right? The man is saying there on camera that ECG cannot possibly give a timetable. Over the last 5 years, 10 years, I'm sure there's a trend of when the power goes out, because you're talking about the peak hours, right? He referred to peak hours, which means that there's a trend of when
and a likelihood, and he mentioned that there's a likelihood the power will go off.
So why can't we use the trends to then say to ECG, this is the likelihood of what's going to happen? It may not happen, but the likelihood is happening. And then ECG can then take that information and put it together and give us some kind of skeletal, timetable to, also say that this is the likely timetable that we're so plan around it.
That is what would the most logical thing to do, if I put it that way. And over the period, the various, to use loosely, the supply chain of our electricity and electrical power from the generation side, VRA, the IPPs, to the distribution, to the transmission side, which is GRIDCO, and then the distribution side, which is ECG or NETCO. Over the period, it looks like there's some the coordination that needs to be, the harmonization and coordination that needs to exist among all these levels of the chain. It's missing, it's broken down. Because if this is a technical issue, what is it's a technical issue. At the end of the day, it will have an impact on the final consumer.
Yes, exactly.
And all these technical resolutions are being put in place to ensure that the final consumer enjoys the best of electrical power to boost for businesses and for business activities. So if this is going on, and the person at the very end is not getting value for money, was not getting the very best in terms of consumer satisfaction. What is the essence of it?
For me, my difficulty is when we have people who are supposed to be giving us answers, join us to also crying about the problem. If the technical people are now telling us that we can't do anything, you might as well just join us. So that we all know that now. We all leave it to fate and look at what will happen later
probably
on.
The PURC.
Before you come in, I've joined in the cry. Now the Asante himself, has also raised some concerns, and we have a video of that. Let's hear what Otumfuo said.
The unstable power supply being experienced in Kumasi and other parts of the Ashanti region is also affecting the Asantehene, and he put these concerns to the energy minister.
Debi di onu a obafie wo kwa kwedi ne kanea fon nanim na edum na so na po na de na ba no se na mekwa akohwe am na yi na de meda na wogina ha ka ne se ehunu se kanea no ye na mafa mpanyimfo a wo mu nyina so mu nyina me mra na mehwe adekro na le engineer fo ne nipa ehwe kanea ne nyina wo de nyina ba manim ne.
The minister Matthew Opoku Prempeh and top officials from the Ghana Grid Company, the Volta River Authority, and the Electricity Company of Ghana are in the Ashanti region as part of efforts to address the erratic power supply. The Asantehene also wants processes fast-tracked to bring in the Ameri plant to Kumasi to boost supply.
The model plant, no. The Momodiana plant, Mumpemesia. Ameri for plant was a capa was a democano. The embassy was a cucrudia, Bessia near the Ashishim so my.
The power transmission and distribution agencies say the collapse of a communication tower on 330 kV Abuazi to Kumasi transmission line at Bogoso continue to affect power supply to Kumasi and parts of the Ashanti region, especially at peak periods. Matthew Opoku Prempeh described the siting of structures close to sensitive transmission lines as unacceptable.
Everybody got to know that don't construct structures near high tension cables and things, because it can have an effect on the whole public good that we are enjoying. The people who pass will shout, look at what a badly sited mast has done to the whole people of Kumasi and Ashanti.
He gave the assurance that the current power supply situation in Kumasi would be addressed.
People would admit that Kumasi had improved tremendously just by energizing where we are. Kumasi had improved. So for those of us who are in charge, we will continue to give the support to ECG and GRIDCO to ensure that whatever necessary is done.
The ministry says processes are advanced to relocate the Ameri power plant to Kumasi.
All right, so some updates for you of what's happening. The Otumfuo says, look, all my equipment are spoiled.
I'm gone. You know, I wonder how Napu's face would be like when they were going to have probably lunch or dinner and the lights went off.
Yeah.
And the Otumfuo was like, Napuna dene. Hey, Ghana.
Yeah.
All right, so we stay in Kumasi, and we've been joined by our correspondent Hafiz Tijani. He is in the capital of the Ashanti region, interacting with residents to also let us know how they are dealing with this whole power situation. Thank you very much for joining us, Hafiz. Hafiz?
Hi, friends.
Great. So where are you currently and what is happening? What are the people saying?
So currently I'm at Afunkwanta, in the middle of Kumasi, in the Kumasi metropolis, and the people are not so happy about the power outages they are experiencing currently. They are not only talking about the resultant effects of the power outage, they are also talking about how they are unable to sleep at night because of the heat they are experiencing as a result of the power outage, and they are not so enthused at all. And they are also raising concerns about some of the timelines given by the officials of the Ghana Grid Company and the Electricity Company of Ghana to solve this problem. That is 20th December. And they say if the officials who are in charge are saying that they cannot shed power in terms of giving them a timetable to be able to plan their lives, they will just take it like that and they would also ensure that they also monitor the situation when and how the light will come and when and how the light will go off, so they can adjust themselves to that. So for now, a lot of residents, when you approach them, they are not happy about the situation.
Can you just get closer to some of them and let's hear what they are saying?
Exactly. Most of them are ready to speak. And even yesterday in this area, in the night, there was no light here in this particular vicinity. And this is one of the worst affected areas in terms of the power outage in the Ashanti region. Mami, I cover the back city TV. So.
Yeah.
Now that's someone I say na light or.
Oh, me the sumu. Na omu do ne be enwumre 6 e bo be 11 no mo so e.
Say say hard.
Oh, first na no mo nka hwe nkyerɛ say de o ma kan say be omu do no mo so ne time say. First is not light nso na ejina so kama be mitia wa we ya na some styles be.
Light of no light of them hair e dey how pot in the brew.
Light no. Oh, me mom dem fa how be am just say me nyama me ton me use light. Nti me fa how be am me.
Na efie
nso me kwa esum na me kwa down so enso time no so be 11 na omo so. Me fridge nso be me kwa na me bibia normal wo. Nti enye hwe.
Na otimi shiw no.
So no dey be ndie tena bonten kakra am from afa ho ane akowura dey mada.
Havis.
I don't know beka such a ban.
Oh, the beka cha ban self. First not light no na gina so kama. And then they say ka say nyina so ane ebo na gina so. Be mi tiawa we ya na light no. Eko on and off sa. And first the no mon ka hwen kire. Se say do mo me ehunu say light no mbedu no time say. O me so ne time say. Into enso yate ase.
So that's a resident of Afun Konta. She said she slept in darkness yesterday. There was no light in this particular vicinity, and she has to cope because usually the heat is too much, and she has to sit outside for some time so that she can take fresh air and then go inside the room and sleep. But she has not been affected as to her business because what she sells doesn't need electricity to run with. And she has also talked about the fridge she uses. Whenever she goes, she puts this on, and whatever she has inside the fridge, it doesn't spoil. Let me speak to this gentleman who also lives in this area.
So when you, as you're going to speak to him, reference Otumfuo's comments, you know, and what they make of that as well. So you can ask him and then later on reference Otumfuo's comments and what they make of it.
Exactly, David. Yeah. So you're welcome to City TV.
Thank you, sir. As a matter of fact, light in it, dear. Omudiye in such a way, sir. Ubetrufi near my lights out. Original crowd won't see us here. Say almost some of the press release, but there and yet won't me who say nationwide, and I say Ashanti region, ye no more say Ubetrufi heat our over demono, and I do the soon years so light. Into ye light in Hoka, and son of my provider ye light in Hoka. Unlike first and a postpaid, you know, this time a prepaid, it's young Hoka, and son also move free dear light. Into first, no maybe no, or must have system name. Among my young units as a more fishy, or my young relative is or more provider. It is the service of the nation is also more provider the light. So, it is such a way, say, Mobama Yadasum, Obekofi Biani Adasum, Obekofi Biana Adasum, now hot. Sebio, although a high northern region there. But if say CSM class about Ashanti region Hanama, look at the mess I will create to her. And Raya Rakasai, sending no macron, the electrical appliances, Bibri say, it need be as or call on Makaji. System ni bia ni won be working enti the legend no mo hwe na nya so mai ye ntimi fanye adwuma na mo sa be ka che say bia after December na mo be mai the right energy ni dia emwaye any send e be si ni atra ana say extra festivity emwaye
na no oti say Asante ni kasai no de na wadun ye o
mimi de ma bia me say No, go too much. But first thing say bia or hine what the bianchi do lights or one day. But now say do more hine what they are. It's too much. It's too much. It's a na as matter of an idea in him say or hine day. And that Mansha Palace ye num lights or now say uko extraordinary. Extra say honum now could do lights there. A hard dream. Say fine. I'm my lights. So far as it's young worker there, you could see near the Babature a meter and soon a car. It's me until my light and me and them.
So his concern is that they are paying for the services of the electricity or to the electricity company of Ghana, and the power outage still continues. And it's not postpaid, it's prepaid. They have to buy and install or maybe load the credit onto their meter before. And he is referencing the point that the Asante made yesterday. And he says that they have been thinking that he is an exception in terms of power outage. But since he's also speaking up, it means this is getting worse. And they residents, they don't know what to do again. And he says that whenever you have a damage to your equipment or some appliances or gadgets, as a result of this power outage, there's no system in place to even give out compensations and all that. And he's worried about all of that, and that the heat is too much. And he raised a point about the outbreak of CSM, though he says that that has not been recorded in the Ashanti region. But he is just predicting if something of that sort should happen as a result of the power outage, what will be done. There's another lady here who is also joining us.
I'm sure
lights on 70% what has say.
You dum ne bono sia bia near doom. A biwa bianso near their form. Near doom.
Send say how?
A higher the pama dear, ya the tone so bibia or has said delight no. And ya mo communist doom in our son or me. Until so high pa.
Na era kasai or say light of Nukrama and feeding na say. Oti and I say.
No crepa light in the no cre which ye. A man no man I say, be so ton fish, and ya the no man in I say.
Okay, so that's another resident raising the same point about the damage the power outage is causing to their equipment and other gadgets at home. It's affecting businesses. When you look at this particular area, there is a lot of people are involved in the informal sector, and that is they use electricity more to do their business. And when you go to major traffic lights like the Anaga Junction, the police now has an extra duty to direct traffic sometimes late in the night because the traffic light is not working as a result of the power outage. When the police officers are not present at these intersections or these traffic lights, a whole lot of vehicular traffic. So the effects of the power outage is moving from domestic to even a wider area in the Ashanti region, and that is affecting productivity too.
All right, thank you very much. We appreciate your updates from Kumasi. All right.
You know, so another thing that Duke Hafiz just spoke about, you know, with the police being at major traffic areas, you know, apart from the confusion and the build-up of traffic jams, we should also not lose sight of security issues, because what happens in the cover of darkness?
A lot. It's an urgent matter that needs to be resolved or to be looked at. And it's good that the Hafiz, from his report, we have the police at these points, but Amloga Junction, Afon Kwanta, these are, I mean, that's Asokwa Makum going on to take. These are like close to a central business district, if I may put it that way. Has a lot of people living there, doing business in that area. So, in as much as the police are doing their bit, the city managers, KMA, should also do their bit to ensure that at least for security in these areas, while the issues at the national level is being resolved with the load management and getting the lights back on, the issues of security and to get the road safety management and others are resolved, so that does also not become, because if the person is doing his business not getting lights to do it, security becomes an issue driving. Well, then what kind of city would they be? Would residents be living in? It's not the best. It's not the best.
Duke, thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate your time this morning.
Thank you, Duke.
All right. Well, Breakfast Daily continues with a lot more exciting conversations.